Hello and welcome back to the ministry. This is Taj McCameron, and we're back for part 3. And today, part 3 of you got to give God your love first. So, recommencing where we left off. At this point, you have to know that God has to make the decision in which He's going to release you unto your God-ordained spouse. He's seen that you have taken the time, you've made the effort, you've given the energy, you've done everything on your behalf that you could possibly do in relation to bringing that thing to pass. So now comes a point in time that the blessing is going to be released to you. So He will allow that person to be released to you. But with them being released to you, you have to realize that what you gave him, you are going to have to give up from yourself to your spouse. You have to lose a element of ego or heirs to yourself. And what are you gaining? You are becoming more free than you have ever been in this relationship, because you will be able to completely be yourself. You will have to come to a place and an understanding. And this is something that a lot of us Christians, especially when we've gone years out of a relationship, we've spent all of our time in the face of the Lord. So because we spent all of this time in God's face, we have a tendency to be one, to what's the word I'm looking for? We have a tendency to be one that when we get into a relationship, it's kind of hard to adjust because we haven't had to be in a relationship. And to the degree at which the Lord is going to push us into these new relationships, depending on how quickly and fast He does so, is going to be a level of a discomfort, because you spent all this time with the Lord and you're now going to have to split your time with God, with this person. God will speak to them, but you have to know that He's first. Anytime you put this man above God, God will have this man show you how much he's a human being. Just know that. But you are supposed to be your husband's servant. You're supposed to come into alignment with your husband, and all things are going to come into alignment with everything else. And they will be a level of completion for you and give you a level of freedom that you may not have had prior to that. But there are levels to it. Because you become more free in relationship. But there are still boundaries. You have to understand that as you are coming into these things, when you have the limits of how much of themselves they share, fear, ridicule, and giving it all to your partner and they giving it back to you, that can be intimidating. As I said, and I actually did last night, I watched The Perfect Match. And I'm not going to get into that now. I'm going to do a whole nother word where I go in an in-depth breakdown of that film. You know how we do. So you don't get ready, sit back, because I got something for you with that one. You have to understand that your partner has gone through a series of things, allowing them that they may have had to process through their fears, their ridicules, so on and so forth. And with those things, they had to come to a level of growth and elevation in order for them to be able to come to you. I heard a pastor say, when you give all of yourself to someone, the hidden places, your true fears, that is true intimacy, but you gain the strength because you allow the other person to heal you. When you have not been in a relationship for a long time, you can go through the process. You can do the inner work, but that relationship is going to test you. How is that relationship going to test you? It's not that the relationship itself is testing you. It's the fact that both of you have gone through things. And because of this, yes, the Lord's going to allow certain things to pop up just to test you. But some of that is the other person just being themselves. And them being themselves, it almost presses the button on your strengths and it presses the button on your weaknesses. So you come into the understanding of who you really are within that relationship. But your honesty, your open-mindedness, your communication allots for the ability for you to be able to truly start the healing process. Because they've been through things, you've been through things, but you're both going to go through a level of healing together. Okay? And with that level of healing, it's going to put you through a process. And some of it's not going to be comfortable, but it's going to be worth it. Understand what I'm saying? It's worth what your energy was. It's worth that element because you are allowing each other to heal, allowing each other to break each other's walls down. But you have to get to that point where you're allowing the walls to come down. You are no longer creating rules and laws and boundaries. Oh, when I get into Perfect Match, you're going to understand. So with that, you become truly complete. I saw a quote that put it perfectly into perspective. The hearts in our chests are shape of the half of the image of a heart. Because when the other half finds us, we make one complete heart. Your partner is going to find you in a state of completion. Doesn't mean that your external looks perfect. doesn't mean all of this, but your heart is at a capacity that it can receive love from somebody else. It's about being able to receive and not reject what the Lord is trying to do or give you in this season. True love is when you find the person that completes you. It's not about finding Mr. Right or finding the exact ideal characteristical person, because the devil can send you a characteristical person that matches every single tick box on your list. He can roll that person in front of you in like a grenade at any particular point in time. What God's going to send you is somebody that you need, not what your eyes want. Remember, lust of the flesh, lust of the eye, and pride of life. Remember that. They can finish your sentence and you know, and they may even know what you need before you ask, because your hearts be in sync. Some people say, oh, a man can't know all this kind of stuff. Man doesn't read people's minds. He doesn't have to. And I'm going to tell you why. If your God-ordained spouse has a connection to the Lord, I've seen it happen with absolute strangers. I've done it for other people, that the Lord will put it on your mind. Watch this. I remember I was a kid. I was coming home from school. My dad came to pick me up. I got the taste for Chinese food. There was only one place we went to go get Chinese food at that particular point in time during that season. We change our Chinese food place every once in a while. But at this particular point in time, there was this one shop we always went to. My mom was still living at the time. And we went to the Chinese food place. We come in the door. Who's standing at the counter getting the Chinese food? My mom. My mom had decided to go take a walk. She called herself, I'm going to exercise today. So she took a walk and walked to the Chinese food place, which means by the time she got there, she was exhausted. And she didn't have a cell phone. And it was an element, she didn't know how she was going to get back home. She had no clue. She couldn't call Dad. So how is it that me, on the whim of getting in the car with my father, think to go to the Chinese food place, which she's waiting, needing a ride home? So we ended up getting the Chinese food. Matter of fact, by the time we got there, because she was ordering the food, they were handing her the food the moment that we walked in the door. That's how your spouse can know you. Because God can put a thought on his mind. You can say to yourself, man, I wish my husband would XYZ. Your husband can be out wherever he's at and say to himself, thinking he's getting the thought for himself, man, I should get my wife XYZ. You don't call him, you don't text him, you don't say nothing to him. Your husband comes home Before you can open your mouth to say something, he's walking in the door with the thing that you were thinking about either picking up yourself or asking him to get. That's how, it's not that he can read your thoughts. It's the fact that God can read the both of you. So he can say, oh, she wants this. He's out. Let me drop the thought in his mind to go get what she asked for. Because that's the Father's heart towards you. How do I know? Because I've seen it. The other day I was in prayer about something. I told the Lord, and it just was a whim in the midst of prayer, that I prayed for him to do something very specific at a very specific XYZ. I went and I watched a word the other day. It was actually right after I got out of a consecration. The very first word that I watched was from the person I was waiting for to hear from. And did they not mention the exact same thing I had prayed about? If it could have been word for word, it would have been word for word. This is how they read your mind. It's not that they read your mind. God read your mind and put it on their heart to say it. Put it on their heart to do it. Put it on their heart. This is an excerpt from Maya Angelou's In and Out of Time. I love this piece of the poem so beautifully. And I want it to be part of my wedding vows when I get married. I was always yours to have. You were always mine. We've loved each other in and out of time. You saw me bludgeoned by circumstance, lost, injured, hurt by chance. I screamed to the heavens, loudly screamed, trying to change our nightmares into dreams. The sun has come, the mists have gone. We see in the distance our long way home. I was always yours to have, you were always mine. We have loved each other in and out of time. Your God-ordained spouse will know how to love you because they've been assigned to you. And why am I getting emotional on this? I took and did a walk just before I came on here. I wanted to check on some things. So I went to the local drugstore to price some things. And a song was playing. I don't know what song that was. I didn't have my internet on my phone, so I couldn't Shazam it. But the guy was singing in the song something specific I'd never heard a guy say in a song before. He was saying that something like, not that he found the girl, but something made him find her. Like something was pulling on him to find her specifically. And I'd never really heard a song like that. And he was like, he was sure now that he could love because he knew that love had found him. And it was what pulled him to this particular person. I'd never heard this song before in my life. But it was playing in the store while I was looking for what I was looking for. And ironically, I bought nothing from that store. God is doing something in our relationships that is going to truly blow the minds of the people that surround us. I don't want to get into this right now. I got 2 words to release to y'all, and they're very extensive because the Lord had me do a walkthrough just before the episode disappeared. I had an episode, it was an episode of a show that I used to watch years ago. And the title of the episode was called Graduation. It was a 2-hour episode. Calculated together, it was probably about an hour and a half. But I didn't want to watch that episode. Something in my spirit did not want to watch that episode. But something in my spirit also was pulling me to say, watch this before you no longer have access to watching it and will have to wait till the next rotation. I didn't want to watch it. I didn't. And I think a part of me didn't want to watch it. And it wasn't just because of what I knew happened in the episode. It was because it's a level of growth within that episode that needed to be explored that I wasn't ready to look through. But for the past 2 months, the Lord had been showing me that graduation was coming. He was doing something between me. He was doing something with me, and he was also doing something with one of the other influencers that appeared in the dream. And she's been talking about the exact same thing. And I know that there's elements that is deep. I need to break those 2 words down, meaning the Perfect Match movie and the graduation, because it's some weight there. It's a lot of weight there, and it's going to take a minute to go through both of them. So you guess what? You can look forward to the fact that there's going to be a good amount of content coming out in the next few days. Okay. I know that even because I'm doing this word, we're coming to a juncture that certain things are about to shift for me. And I need you to understand me. Follow me very carefully when I say this. Listen closely. If you enjoy what you are watching, you enjoy what you are seeing, know this. I will be posting things. I just may not be doing video. I will do video as I can when things shift for me. But be prepped and aware. Know that I said this. That we're coming to the end of the consistency of the videos. You may get videos as you see. But if you're new, I mean, if this is the first video you've seen, you got 318 videos to catch up on. Go ahead and enjoy yourself. Make sure to subscribe so you can catch the new videos as I post them. It just may not be as frequent as you used to, okay? Because God's doing something new with me. And as God prepares to do something new with me, I have to move with the flow of the way God's moving me. So, yeah. It's a lot of things. Do I have more content that I can release? I'm only releasing it as the Lord leads me. And that's the truth. I'm just keeping it 100 with you. That's the truth. I also know that there's another word that I'm going to get the content for that word written up, but I don't know when I'm going to release it. Plus, there's a couple other movies the Lord's been showing me that He wants me to do as well. I'm like, oh, really? You want me to dissect them too? Because I've been watching movies. I don't even think I did Marry Me. Oh, Lord, He don't want me to do Marry Me. I don't think I've done Marry Me in relation to anything, which I probably should due to the fact of how the Lord's been speaking to me. And that's a confirmation. All right, I'm going to do it. But let me finish off by saying this. You must learn to love God first. God should be your central, because if God is your center, God will bring that man to you. God will keep that man with you. And as I break down this movie that's coming up next, you understand how God works with the men. Okay? And God's done the work on you. He's been working on him too. It's been a process. It has. But know that He's in the midst of all things. We know it's been tiring. We know we just want the weight. But you have to also flip the script and think about it this way. Look at the weight that may be possibly on them too. Don't think you're the only one carrying a weight here. You just are carrying a different weight than he's carrying. Yes, when you come into the picture, it's going to make his weight a little bit lighter and your weight a little bit lighter, but y'all both going to have weight to carry. Matter of fact, actually, the weight that you've been carrying is going to become more obvious, because guess what? When you get married, you're going to get pregnant, and that weight's going to be on your body for all to see the weight you've been carrying. Nobody has seen the weight that you've been carrying up until this point, but they're about to see the weight you've been carrying when they see you're pregnant. They're going to see the physical manifestation of the pregnancy that you've been carrying for years spiritually. And God had to make sure. This is why your marriage was the most important relationship that you ever had to line up. Because this relationship is the relationship that will determine. Not every man can support a woman through pregnancy. I actually read an article, and it talked about the emotional weight that happens to a couple during pregnancy. A female's emotions, the weightiness of the pregnancy, mentally, emotionally, financially, all of these kinds of things. It's a weight there. And you're going to heal, but you're going to need that support. Some of y'all are going to be carrying children, not one, more than one. I know how, I can't even repeat. I can't. I just know what the Lord showed me. And it's the irony of him having shown it. He showed it to me years ago. Because I remember I was in the doctor's office. And this had to have been almost 8-9 years ago. I was in the doctor's office. I was waiting on my doctor to come in. And I just walked over to the wall. And it was a specific chart on the wall. And what was on the chart for the amount of children was the exact amount that was confirmed to me. I can't even find that chart of how the body processes that kind of pregnancy. Because now I'm actually like, oh, Lord, you done confirmed it. I want to see where that chart is now. Because now I need to know. I didn't know what you were showing me was what you was going to give to me. And that was 9 years ago. I wasn't thinking about kids then. I just happened to look at the chart. And I haven't seen a chart like it since. These men have to be able to cover you and your children. Not just financially, but cover you spiritually. I know my spouse can do that. He may be dealing with some things, but we're going to work through those things. But you know what? As we go into let me just get to this next part, because if I get to this next part, then you'll understand what I'm talking about. Okay? All right. I hope this has blessed you, because then we can dig in a little bit deeper. All right? So flow with me. You ready to flow with me? All right. This is Taj McCameron for Love, Faith, Peace, and Blessings. Until next time, bye-bye.